BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
We're nearly on. Wicked.
Crouchy, when you're ready, I think.
Yeah. Are we ready? All good to go? Wow. Okay. Welcome to That Peter Crouch podcast with me, Peter Crouch. I don't know what a podcast is.
That's brilliant.
Me playing on the left wing, it's not an option.
I'd probably cling to someone like yourself, try and hope that you'll protect me from the bullies.
Oh, it's Carl's fault.
Classic Carl, isn't it?
Damn you, Thomas Schaffernacker.
Was he a good dancer, Frank Lampard?
Oh, God, it's like bargain hunt.
Now I'm on the Madras and I'm on the verge of a Vindaloo.
Not sure that bit will make it.
If you manage to get a photo of Iniesta, I will...
Buy me a car.
No. Right, this is my local curry house, boys. Tom, Chris, you both with me? This is the Samrat. What do you reckon?
Chris, what have we done? What have we done? I'm looking around a suburban curry house, and it's like looking at the pages of a book come to life. It's like reading Harry Potter and then actually meeting Ron Weasley.
Yeah, it's a really strange one for us, because obviously when we do this podcast, it's just us three in a pub. So it's very, very strange to be in a room full of people, but also here at the Samrat. This is the one, boys. This is
It's
the one we've been
real, the
talking about.
We've actually made
the whole
it.
series.
I can't tell you how bizarre this is for me because I've been coming here for a long, long time. My mum, my dad are here, my sister's here. All my friends from primary school are here. But there's cameras, there's microphones, there's music, there's mascots. There's Dev from Corrie.
Do you know what? We've got a lot to get through tonight, but you're right. We've got so many special guests here. This is going to be a very special evening. Ladies and gentlemen, you up for it tonight? Yeah. Sweet. Mrs. Chang, where is Mrs. Chang, please? Mrs. Chang over there.
There's
Give us
Mrs.
a wave.
Chang.
Lovely. Lovely to meet you, Mrs. Chang.
Mrs. Chang was my dentist when I believe it was correct. I think it was 9 years old. So I probably haven't seen her since baby teeth. And now she's checked me out and she said, well, I've lost a few along the way. I've got a couple of fillings needed. But other than that, I'm okay.
Is this not freaking you out, Crouchy? This is the weirdest night I've ever been involved in.
It's a very, very strange evening for me. Well, I didn't realise the power of the pod, really. I'm here and I can't actually believe it's happening.
Oh, massively. You know, we've got Dion Dublin here as well, Chris.
I know, Dion Dublin, you won't have heard this, but Dion Dublin had to do the safety announcement before we started recording. And that alone was one of the strangest things I've ever seen.
He did it very, very well, I must say.
Yeah.
He did it very well.
Dion, you've got a strange box on your lap.
Can I explain this, please?
This is going to be
Right,
chaos
only because
tonight.
in a previous podcast, my good friends here, Chris and Tom, didn't know what the jube was. And I'm hoping that we might get a little taste of it this evening.
Oh, that would
Chris,
be
we
special.
doubted, didn't we? But I'm looking at a cube. It's a drum, it's a cube, and it's being played.
Let's not blow our load too early, though, Dion. And we've got a long evening ahead. So let's kick things off. We're here at the Samrat. It's an honour to be here, and we're now joined by our first guest of the evening, gentlemen, representing the Samrat. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Mr. Islam.
Mr. Islam, everyone. Give it up for
That's
Mr.
right.
Islam.
I am the owner of the restaurant.
He's done a special menu for us, Chris. I don't know if you've seen this. Have a look at this, boys. So the menu reads, That Peter Crouch podcast, That Samrat menu. The starters, quite traditional poppadoms, onion bhaji, meat samosa, plain all garlic naan bread. When we get to the mains, Crouch, have you seen this?
Yes.
The first dish, Crouchy's having his madras.
You always like Madras, yeah.
That's my dish.
Dish 2, the Miss Chang Boona.
Big up, Miss Chang.
Dish 3, Iniesta's tiki-taka masala. Dish 4, the prawn berry. Do you
good
get
name.
the reference there, Chris?
I
The
do,
prawn berry?
yeah, that's, of course, for our lovely friend
Sean
Sean
will be
Derry.
very pleased with that.
And this is my favourite, Crouchy. You read this one. This is your phrase originally.
Yeah, this is the piss off dal. Which is a vegetarian taka dal.
So, Mr. Islam, you're going to kick things off here by, I believe, taking our orders.
Yeah, sure.
So, Crouchy, what are you having, mate?
Well, I can only go for Crouchy's having his madras.
Chicken Madras, yeah.
I want to point out to everyone listening on the podcast right now, we've got a live curry situation, as in people are ordering food as this podcast is going on, ordering drinks. I believe people are even picking up takeaways and stuff like that. So you're going to have
wondering
to...
what the hell is going on.
I've just seen 3 cobras go past.
It's a moving situation, so if it sounds a tiny bit more chaotic than usual, and that's difficult to do, that's why. Bear with us.
Okay.
So Have you got the order?
I
You're
have
good
got
to
the
go.
order,
Chris,
yes,
what are you
yeah.
having?
Well, I'm definitely having a piss off Dahl because that's just genius.
Then can I
And,
make that 2 piss off dials, please?
let's just get a load in the middle and sharesies.
Can I also just note at the bottom here,
Oh,
there is no Bovril available.
Should we do some listeners' messages, Chris?
Yeah, let's crack on.
Okay, I've got one from Paul. Paul has emailed in to ask, why do footballers never get nipple chafing? Paul says, I run if it rains or if I'm sweating a lot, I get bloody nipples. Why does it never happen
Enjoy
to
your dinner,
football-
everyone.
Why does it never happen to footballers, Peter Crouch?
Nipple chafing.
You never had that?
I've never even heard of it. No.
Are your nipples sensitive or...?
I think I've got quite perk nipples.
Yeah.
They've never chafed.
Yeah, and you'll learn this as you see us record this podcast, that this is the level of chat we have. Some makes it, some doesn't, so stick with it.
Have you had any teammates who've suffered from nipple
No, I don't
chafing?
think it's ever been a thing, to be quite honest.
Really?
No, I don't think so. Don't worry, that'll be well cut out.
All right, this next one's from Johnny. I was next to Crouchy on the North Ealing School tea towel. Oh, exciting times. I've still got it in my kitchen. My other claim to fame is that during a kickabout on Pitshanger Park,
Which is, what, 2 minutes away from where we are today?
Just down the road, yes, where I learnt my trade.
Crouchy broke my nose with a flailing elbow.
Oh,
No fault of his, I was just short and running behind him. What do you want to say to Johnny, Crouchy?
What I'd like to say, Johnny, is that I've been getting away with that for years.
Who is your favourite person that you've injured?
Pablo Zabaleta's a lovely man. Always really got on well with him. And I always remember catching him with this elbow. And God's honest truth, I didn't mean it.
Come
but
on, yes, you did.
Honestly, I saw his nose after the game. And he was in the players' bar talking to his wife. And his wife looked at me like, what on earth have you done to my husband? And I do apologise because he's a lovely, lovely man. I didn't mean it, but...
How bad was it? Was it spread across his
Yeah, it
face?
was terrible. Yeah, it was so...
Yeah, in your words, it was a beauty.
It was a beauty, yeah.
How much... You've had your nose broken. So
I have, yeah.
How much would that have cost him?
I'll be honest with you. My natural nose wasn't perfect. So when I got mine broken and put straight again afterwards, I'm actually more... It's a much improved nose.
Here's a cracker. This is one from Sam. Sam says, I was on a flight to Paris with my girlfriend, ready to listen to the latest pod, when I realised I'd forgotten my headphones. The man next to me was listening to the exact same episode. But unfortunately, he'd fallen asleep. I got as close as possible to the sleeping man without making it obvious that I was trying to listen. Sadly, turbulence woke the man up and he turned the podcast off. Enjoy the Samrat. Say hello to Dev from me. All the best, Sam.
Hey, Dev. Dev's going to be the live one tonight. Man of the match already.
Dev, do you remember Play Your Cards Right?
No.
No, do you not
What?
really?
No, kind of vaguely. When it came to me, and I listened to the podcast.
Sorry, I'm calling you Dev, but that's not your name, is it?
Would you call Martine McCutcheon Tiffany?
Nobody knows who I am.
Are you all right with us calling you Dev? I don't want to be rude,
Call me
but...
Dev, I've been called worse.
Because, with soap stars...
Jimmy, you're a legend.
Thank you.
We love you.
You often don't know Jimmy Dev, do you? What
Thank you.
actually is the real name? Like Wellard off EastEnders.
Yes.
Was that a stage name?
Wellard.
Wellard?
What a comparison, mate. He's in the room, We're not just us three anymore.
Let's get to some important questions. This is from Wardy's Olay. Here you go, Crouchy. Shag, marry, push off a cliff.
Oh, let's just hold on a minute.
You ready
Let's
to
sign
go?
up for this?
You ready to go? Tony Pulis.
Pulis.
Harry Redknapp.
Love it.
Sven.
Shagging Sven,
So
surely.
who are you shagging?
Oh,
Everyone else has.
I'd shag Sven. He must be good. Has to be.
And then it's a tricky one, isn't it, between marrying Harry Redknapp or Tony Pulis and pushing off a cliff?
God, I can't push either of them off a cliff.
You got to push one.
That's the whole point of the game.
Really?
Pulis is younger. As a younger man, he may be more likely to survive being pushed off a cliff than Harry. Harry's 72 now?
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, at 72, he's had a great innings, hasn't he?
Right, well, maybe going off the cliff.
But to me, he looks like a fantastic husband from what I saw in the
Yeah,
jump. So
true.
actually, maybe marry him.
Actually, yeah.
Get
If
the
he
money
loved me like
if
he did Sandra, then I'll probably marry Harry.
That's a wonderful image. We're very proud that people have sort of embraced the podcast in a way that we never really expected and want to carry it forward to a wider audience. And we want to get a few people to be ambassadors. And so we've got news on this, Tom, right?
We have. So this has been a bit nuts, but we thought there was only one man, Crouchy, who could be the first ambassador for your podcast. That's your dad, Bruce.
Yes.
Honoured.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Bruce.
Do you know I found out I found out recently that he'd actually emailed in applying to be an ambassador.
To
I don't know
your
if we've seen
BBC
that.
email address,
Yeah.
which you check every day.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I check it regularly. And I found out that he wanted to be an ambassador. And I think an ambassador of Ealing, it'd be apt that my father would be that ambassador.
As Crouchy's dad, you'll have been proud on many occasions. The time he signed his first professional contract.
Yep.
The time he played in the Champions League final.
Amazing.
He scores for England.
Amazing.
In a World Cup.
Fantastic.
But when you look at him here, sitting in a suburban curry house,
Yeah.
recording a knockabout podcast, is this the proudest moment of all?
I think it's right up there, I've got to be honest. I have seen him in here performing at a very high level, though, before. He has actually played kabaddi in here.
Oh, here we go.
So...
What's kabaddi? Sir?
Oh, kabaddi. What's kabaddi? What?
Joking.
No, he's very young.
what is it?
He's very young. He's very young.
If you
very
talk
young.
about kabaddi, you've basically got to go kabaddi, kabaddi,
kabaddi, there you go.
kabaddi,
Absolutely.
kabaddi,
He's nicked me
kabaddi.
punchline now.
I'm still no closer to knowing what it is.
It's a game where you hold your breath and try to get to the other side.
It's like bulldog that you
Yeah.
play in the playground, but you try and do it on a single breath.
So you just say kabaddi lots of times until you've run out of breath and you keep it going as long as you
Basically,
can.
yeah.
So who is better out of you and your dad?
Probably me.
Shall we quickly see? So on 3, I take it?
Yeah, let's
How
have
it
kabaddi
works?
off between the Crouches.
Right, okay.
Right.
I didn't sign up for the kabaddi off.
No.
3?
But
How
we'll
do
have
we
a
do
go.
this?
So
2.
I've got to get to the other side. I've gone.
We've got to go.
Oh,
He's
come on,
gone,
come on, come on, come on, come on.
Wow.
Anyway, there was one.
What I will say is that Wembley, you can see Wembley actually from Ed and Rob's house, who I used to have sleepovers when we were very young. We could see, if you go up to the top window, you can actually see Wembley. So I played there, somehow. And we used to come here after every game and play kabaddi by the sound of it.
We play kabaddi.
So you're back.
Yeah.
You're back in the Samrat,
Yeah.
Bruce.
Yeah.
So, as someone with his finger on the pulse of this part of West London, is this the biggest thing for this area since Marvin Gaye immortalised it in his hit single "Sexual Ealing"?
Sorry. Yeah, it's pretty big. I mean, I've been offered sexual favours on the street for seats in here tonight, and I've turned them down.
Just
obviously,
looking at your wife's face as you say that.
I forgot she was here.
Well, that's Bruce, that's why she's here. Sorry, mate.
If you come round our house, we've got pampas grass that you wouldn't believe. I'll tell you that, honestly. It's twitching as we speak.
So this is sexual ealing?
This is sexual
It's
ealing.
sexual
yeah,
healing, yeah. It
Wow,
is, yeah.
sexual.
When you get that feeling.
Peter, as our first ambassador, we need you to get your father, what a wonderful moment this is, to say his vows.
So
yeah?
we've got him a badge.
Okay.
Do I go down on one knee here?
He's making a bizarre noise, mate. But
Is this your son's lightsaber?
That's my 5-year-old's lightsaber. Yeah.
Okay. I hereby swear by the power invested in me
I hereby swear by the power invested in me
to spread that Peter Crouch podcast and its message
to spread that Peter Crouch podcast and its message
to all those who have somehow not yet heard it,
to all those who have somehow not yet heard it,
and to personally represent all that is good about it,
and to personally represent all that is good about it.
in sickness and in health,
In sickness and in health,
till death do us part.
till death do us part.
Piss off, Carl.
And piss right off, Carl.
Arise.
Thank you.
You are our first ambassador.
I'm honoured. I'm so honoured. I can't tell you.
okay, so look, we've got some more ambassadors here. In that Cars episode, we asked you for your applications to be an ambassador for this podcast. Well, stop emailing. We got loads. We got more than 1,000 applications.
Chris, it's been nuts. I mean, Peter, you stay across your BBC email, but there's been so many, we're going to have a cut-off. We're going to say that if you emailed
Right.
before the 19th of December, congratulations, you are an ambassador. If you email afterwards, I'm sorry, we got too many.
I want badges for the ambassadors.
Yeah.
Like,
We can make that happen,
Can we
mate.
make that happen?
Yeah. Listen, there's a budget now. We have our first 5 ambassadors. Bruce Crouch is number 1, of course. 001, if you will. What a sexy number. Matthew, you are now the official That Peter Crouch podcast ambassador for Bishop in Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan, yeah. So
Only
I'm
Tom
go-
knows the actual name for these
I'm going to do
places.
a Graham from Blind Date style voice over here, Chris. Matthew is a wildlife researcher looking for snow leopards in the mountains of Chang. He loves Crouchy and hates Carl.
Too right, and that's why you're an ambassador. Tom, next ambassador.
Ambassador number 3, Fiona. You are now an official That Peter Crouch podcast ambassador. for the Alps. Fiona listens while she rambles between ski resorts.
You're good at that.
004, Alec, you are now officially a That Peter Crouch podcast ambassador for Warwick Technology Park. Represent.
Wait, well, so what? Fiona gets the whole of the Alps, and Alec just gets Warwick Technology Park.
Yeah, that's cool.
005, Stephen, you are now an official That Peter Crouch podcast ambassador for Livingston in Scotland.
Stephen's little quote at the end, please.
Do you want that in the Graham Blind Date voice?
Well, you can't leave that out. Stephen says...
Stephen says, you probably won't have heard of Livingston. It's a shithole.
Harsh.
Stephen's
But
words,
is it true,
not
Crouchy?
ours.
I've not been to Livingston, but Stephen knows better than me.
But you will go.
I can't wait, because I've got to meet all the ambassadors, haven't I?
Right, very excited about this next bit. We are here with Danny Fenton, who went to primary school with you. Give it up for Danny Fenton, everyone. Wow.
Hi.
Wow.
So, I don't know where we really start with this. Some of my happiest memories of being back at school, the school discos. For this episode, I wanted everyone in the room to enjoy a Panda Pop. Now, you do not know the lengths I've gone to get these Panda Pops. It wasn't sexual favours, Bruce, but it was close. They stopped doing Panda Pops about 10, 15 years ago, boys.
Well,
so
so
I
they don't
couldn't
even
do
make
it.
them anymore.
I contacted, they were made by a brewers called Badgers as well, who makes the ales. And I contacted them. I've noticed pandapops.com is going free. The whole thing's gone.
What?
So Crouchy, with a bit of seed capital, I'm saying we take the Panda Pops brand and us free, just blow it up again. Because I put this on Twitter, everyone wants Panda Pops. And Danny Fenton, do you remember having Panda Pops at the school disco with
Yeah.
Crouchy?
Oh, God, this
Oh,
is
wow.
Panda
Can I-
Pop
Right
night.
in the middle of
It's a photo, is
the
it, from
disco,
those days?
school disco. Peter in the centre stage.
Oh, is it
have a look.
really?
And
Is
it's
it really
kind
a
of,
photo?
I think it's actually the Michael Jackson, Billie Jean.
Shall I describe this for
Oh, this is-
our listeners?
You're not going to believe this, lad.
So Crouchy is, I mean, he's obviously, have a look at this, Chris. He's obviously a head taller than everyone else.
There's plenty going on.
Some on the back is playing Spin the Bottle, and you're looking.
Ooh la la!
Sadly, he's not involved, but he's looking enviously
I'm not
at
involved.
the.
I actually landed on Danny. I remember her kicking it to Red.
Hey, Danny, what was Peter like at primary school?
Yeah,
Be
come
honest.
on.
So what I remember is he started a few years late, and before you were there, Ed and Rob, who are here today, they were the kind of cool boys in the class. You know, they were good at football, and
got the
everyone,
smiles
you know,
on
they
their
were really
faces.
popular. And then Peter turned up, and I don't know, everyone was like, "Whoa, who's this guy?" Like, he genuinely was really good at football. And poor Ed and Rob, who were, you know, doing so well, just were kind of slightly second. But yeah, he was a really nice boy, age 10.
Now, one of the things we've lined up is we've got some of the QPR mascots here.
The QPR mascots actually do a proper Michael Jackson. Come on, boys, let's see it.
Is this genuinely going to happen?
Yeah, are you going to join in, Crouchy? or
No,
what's-
I fucking am not.
Dion, can we have some drumming, Dion? If you're not having your curry, Dion, can we have some drumming?
Best night ever. Now, I know if you're listening to this right now, it's probably a little bit frustrating you can't see this, but there's going to be loads of videos for you to see in the future. And right now, enjoy the sounds of Dion Dublin's Jube, and we'll enjoy the QPR mascot doing Michael
That's a
Jackson.
good Jackson.
Oh, he's good, he's good. Okay, I just need to catch my breath a little bit. This is my local curry house, and I've just seen Jude the cat breakdancing while Dion Dublin plays the Jude.
5 Live here with the BBC.
Educate, inform.
That
Did
one's
they-
for the Samrat only.
What?
Listen, don't you worry. It's about to get a whole lot stranger as the evening goes
All
on.
right. It's like This Is Your Life or something.
It is, yeah.
Looking around us here, Crouchies, we've got a table plan, we've got a carefully chosen venue, we've got printed menus. They're coming together of so many different people from your life. This is your podcast wedding.
Yeah, I feel like it's a wedding. It's very strange. I mean, the fact that, you know, I didn't know so-and-so could sit together, you know, organising table plans, and it's all gone a bit weird, if I'm honest.
Hey, Crouchy, we've got another special guest here. Will you introduce everyone to who is sat on the chair right now?
Right, so this is a good friend of mine from Liverpool. Looked after me while I was up there. This is Cutthroat Pete.
A legend of the podcast.
Pete, can I establish something early doors? You've never actually cut someone's throat, have you?
No, I haven't killed him, man.
And actually, if you looked at him, you'd probably think, yeah, he does cut throats.
Why on earth did you go with Cutthroat Pete?
I'll be honest with you. I mean, he'll have to tell the story because I got recommended him by Wayne Rooney, by John Stones.
And that's an endorsement.
I love the way this works, Chris, in football.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Wayne Rooney?
No, but he just told me he was a good lad.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense, right? So if you were to tell me, look, I know someone who could sort you out, actually make you look half decent, I'd listen to you. But if Wayne Rooney came to me and said, look, I could get you a haircut like this, I wouldn't listen.
Oh, dear.
I want to talk about David Beckham and his influence. So I've got a mate who's a barber, and he always says that David Beckham transformed British men's attitudes to haircuts. Basically, if Beckham got something done, then he could guarantee the next day there'd be loads of lads going, can you do me a Fohican, please?
Yeah, that's definitely the case. You see guys coming in saying, oh, can I go for that look? Or bringing pictures in of David Beckham. This is grown men as well, you know, it's not just young boys. This is fellas who are in the 30s and 40s. And
has anyone ever bought in a picture of Peter Crouch?
Yeah.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh.
One of his being nice there. Can I just say, David Beckham was not a trailblazer for haircuts. Danny Fenton's photo that she brought in here, I've got a Mohican there. Matt Hobden's got the shave round the sides, long on top. Alex Wordsworth there's got the perm. Charlie Pericleos has got loads of gel slick back. Annalisa Horswell's got a bob.
You were the trailblazers.
We were smoking it.
Cutthroat, if you were sitting down behind Chris, you've put the towel around his neck and then you've put the cape around him, what would be your opening conversational gambit to put Chris at ease?
I can mention things like the podcast, and I've mentioned it to so many of my clients who didn't even know that it existed.
You're a
Good
legend.
pass in the pod, eh?
This is this is exactly
Fully.
it, Peter. Now, Peter's brief was about passing the pod. You are in a prime
Definitely.
position to be able to do that for
Yeah.
us.
And I'd love to
Just a
make
couple.
Pete an ambassador. I'm not going to go through all that bollocks again.
Yeah,
I'll give him a badge.
John Stones is a big fan.
Is he?
Yeah.
John Stones.
John
is
Stones
involved.
likes
There
the
we
pod.
go.
Yeah, he loves it.
Pete, do you ever charge footballers more?
Give me a short back and sides.
People say to me all the time, do you charge them more? But no, not at all, you know what I mean? It's
Well, that's why he's
everyone
still
gets
there.
the same service.
This is your reputation right
Yeah,
there, Cutthroat.
definitely, yeah.
One thing I've always wondered, Chris, you know when you're getting your hair cut and the barber will lift up the mirror and he'll show you the back of your head, even if you've had a total mare, what do you say?
Great job, man. It's the British way of dealing with it, isn't it?
Do you know?
Now, boys, we always have a situation during the podcast where generally I need a piss.
Do you want to
What
make
is
the
the
hand
protocol
signal?
with so many people around it?
Just go for a piss.
Do you want to, we normally have this sign where you have to throw your hand in the air, which is some sort of signal.
Should we have some music? Let's have a little bit of
We've
music.
got music to
We've
piss
got some
to.
music from it's not Dev, but it's another soap actor who has come up several times in this podcast.
It's Martine, isn't it?
This is my moment. This is my perfect moment with you.
That Peter Crouch podcast from BBC 5 Live.
This is my perfect moment with you. With you.
All right. The thing is about perfect moment is we never really worked out what the perfect moment was for. But urinating to Perfect Moment by Martin McCutcheon was one of the most glorious experiences of my life, right here in the Samrat.
Crouchy, what's next?
No idea. Touching on the fact that Dion's here, I have to say a big thank you to Dion for coming down here. Bring this tube down.
Legend.
And I have to just give you a little bit of insight into Dion and what he was like for me. And he probably doesn't even know that he was a huge influence. But I went to Aston Villa and I realised that quite a few of the players there were older. There was Paul Merson, Peter Schmeichel was there, Ronnie Johnson, there was Ian Taylor. Dion Dublin was getting on a bit at that time.
Charming.
I have to say. And I think I was signed as a young player, maybe to potentially replace Dion at some stage. But I came in and I realised straight away that I was not on his level. And he helped me so much. We were training and he helped me with my runs, what I was doing, my heading, my finishing. It's nice for me to tell Dion like how much really that he influenced my career. And I think, would I have been the same player? I think maybe not. I think he was a massive, massive role model and someone that helped me so much. And he can play the dude as well.
Hey, Dion, I want to ask you a question. So Crouchy on the podcast told us about the time that you told him that you were going to do Homes Under the Hammer, right? And I want to hear your version of it.
Yeah. Because the way that Crouchy tells it, you phoned him up and you've basically given the impression that you were hosting Match of the Day.
And you gave him a load of stats and that. How was it from your side when you heard that?
I just got dog's abuse from Crouchy. Just actually took the piss from start to finish. What the fuck are you doing that for? Why would you? What do you know about houses? And it sort of went down that route with lots of expletives in it as well. So, but he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. A lot of loving.
He's very, very good on it.
He's the best presenter on it. Hey, who watches Homes Under the Hammer here?
There's your mum. My mum's a huge fan.
Crouchy's mum loves you.
This is the first time you've been to Samrat, Dion, is it?
Yes, sir, it is.
As a man who understands property, if this particular West London property were to go to auction,
yes, sir,
how much would it be worth?
Well, it's difficult because I'd normally knock it through, but it's already been knocked through.
Dion, it has to be said, loves knocking things through.
Thanks very much for that, Crouchy. Cheers, mate.
Oh my God, this is going to get better and better, isn't it? Hey, Dion, so you're here with your jube. Now, when I heard about the jube, it blew my mind. And a lot of people have given me shit throughout this podcast because I didn't know what the jube was. And actually, I meet people at gigs and stuff like that, and they're like, of all the things on the podcast, like, how did you not know that Dion Dublin has a jube?
I'm not just bigging Dion up, he can play it properly.
Okay.
So can we play a game of Name That Tune?
Oh. All right, okay, so as this isn't a rhythm instrument, it's a percussion instrument.
Whoa. What's the distinction between rhythm and
Because
percussion?
rhythm can play the lyrics to a song. So you'll hear the lyrics to a song from a guitar or a piano. Or from a percussion instrument, you'll hear a rhythm.
What he's obviously saying is because he's playing the drum here,
no
playing Guess
notes.
That Tune as a proposed game is a dreadful game to play.
But you may get it.
Name That Rhythm.
But you may get it. You may get it. Try this one first, okay? Well done. Okay, one more then. Just one more before I go. One more. Here we go.
Iniesta just walked past me.
We'll come to you.
Go on, Theo. Let's have another
one. Okay, one more. Think soap.
Dev, you ready?
Come on, Dev, you got this.
Go on, Dev, sing up. Oh, it's the wrong one.
Dion, you have fully converted me to the jube. Chris?
Yeah, and Dion, where can people buy the jube if they wanted to?
Straight to thejube.com. Very simple.
Thejube.com, ladies and gentlemen. Dion, Crouchy said such lovely words about you. Is there anything you want to say back to Crouchy about what you said about your good self?
You know what? On a serious note, when it comes to being a footballer, you can come into the game and you can be bowling about like they're the best in the world. There's 19-year-old players earning 25 grand a week at City. 19 years old earning 25 grand a week. Crouchy was 18, 19, came to Villa, and he asked me for help. He asked me for help. He didn't say, listen, I've made it. He actually asked me for help. And he actually pissed about a lot during training, I've got to say. He properly pissed about in training, to be fair.
I just knew I wasn't ready at Villa. And one of my first games was I started, and Alan Shearer was the other forward. And I just knew I was a million miles away from being a Premier League player. And I just tried to be a sponge and take it in, and I tried to get stronger and I tried to get better. And I had to go back down, and I went on loan to Norwich, and I potted around, and finally I went to Southampton, and that's where my sort of career took off, really. And if it wasn't for sort of listening and learning and taking it all in, then I wouldn't have, I wouldn't be sitting here in the Samrat with my own podcast.
Without getting too deep on this situation, right? A lot of people say in their job, especially when they're in such a position as yourself, and same with Dion, And Dev as well, actually, that sometimes you might have a feeling that you, like, it's called imposter syndrome, that you never really feel like you should deserve to be at the level that you're at.
Yeah, God.
Can you relate to that?
100%. And I remember playing away at West Brom on my debut, and I missed a chance. I was like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And thankfully, I had good people around me that gave me the G up that I was good enough. And thankfully, I stuck by it. I came on. I always remember the game against Gillingham. The lads were with me that night, and they always used to bet on the first goal scorer. And thankfully, I've scored that day, and they all had a tenner on it, and we went out. Went on a run, and I think I scored in 8 sort of home games out of 10, and we just had the best year of our lives.
There is a lot of people in the world of football that don't really know football. They're fans, but they haven't been on the inside. And they always say, oh, what a great touch for a big man. You've got to be sick of hearing that. Inside the game, we know how good you are, and we knew how good you would get. You can't get to the 100 club by being a shit footballer.
The 100 club, Dion, being 100 Premier League goals.
Yeah, scoring 100 Premier League goals. Scoring a goal in the Premier League is difficult enough. You work very hard at that, and I just think to get in that club, probably having doubts about his own ability early on, he's reached there's only 28 players that have done it, I think, 28 players.
I'll be honest with you, I played in the game while I was on the bench because he was playing ahead of me. I was the game when he got 100 Premier League goals. Remember he scored 2?
Spurs.
I remember the goals.
So he's the young striker, and as Crouchy says, in his words, you're knocking on a bit.
Yes.
Were you threatened at all, or did you look across the training pitch and see Bosko Balaban and think, actually, I'm fine here?
Oh, God.
Bosko Balaban was a Croatian, and he was shocking. He was shocking. His attitude stunk. He just could not score. He just didn't care about being at Villa. And then you got someone like Crouch, who's 18, 19, and just wanted to learn his trade. So Graham Taylor, God rest his soul, he knew a player.
Did Graham ever talk to you about Crouchy?
He did.
Can I ask, was he worried?
What have I done with £5 million?
Yeah. Well, you must have done, because, I wasn't doing it.
He did ask me to say, listen, would you spend a bit of time? Would you speak to him? Would you pass on what you know to Crouchy? And he knew a player that had talent, so he'd allow them to for that talent to come out. And, he's a missed manager, a very missed manager.
Yeah, it's very weird as a football fan to hear two people that I massively admire exchanging stories as if you're almost doing them for the first time.
The Samrat will do this to you.
I'll give you a story away from football about Crouchy. Now, Crouchy, you might not remember this. This is pre-season tour in Norway with Villa.
I know it.
There's about 28 of us. Now, we've had a week's worth of training in Norway. We've got about 2 hours worth of light in Norway. No joke, by the way, about 2 hours light. The gaffer says, right, you've done a great week's training. Go and have a few beers, no problem at all. Crack on, lads, brilliant. So you've got myself, Do Eyes for Sell, J. Lord Samuel, God rest his soul, Lee Hendry, Gareth Barry, Crouchy, Mercer, a lot of us walking down the street. And as you walk down the street, on the left-hand side of the street, there's a bars on the left-hand side. Crouchy goes missing. We look, where's Crouchy? Where's Crouchy? Now, you can't lose Crouchy. And he's crossing the road. We don't know where he's going, but Crouchy walks across the road on his own. As we're walking into this bar, we turn over our shoulder. What's he doing? What's he doing? He walks over to this homeless man, takes off his black Prada trainers, gives them to the homeless man, and puts the homeless man's shoes on and comes to meet us in the bar. Ladies and gentlemen, is Peter Crouch.
And the homeless man goes, what the fuck am I going to do with a pair of size 13s?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I need to point out that the mains are being delivered here in the Samrat. If you're listening right now and you keep hearing the clattering of dishes behind some quite emotional stories, it's because it's a live curry situation. The curry does have to be served. And everyone listening right now, I'm sure, can understand that Crouchy's dad needs to eat. And, Bruce has got his curry on the way. So, also, you might hear the occasional phone. What it is people phoning in orders. So we've got a wonderful scenario, guys, where people are ordering takeaway from the Samrat and then turning up and collecting it.
And still available for takeaway?
Yeah, and seeing this madness around when they come and pick it up. We will have another Martin McCutcheon moment soon. But Tom, what's next?
Well, Chris, I think it's a special guest that you should introduce. Of all the people in this restaurant, you should introduce our next guest.
It's actually uncanny.
So we need to give the backstory here. Everybody knows that I'm desperate to have my photo taken with Iniesta. And I tried really, really hard, even to the point where I found myself Googling Iniesta lookalike, just to see if I could get away with that. Please welcome our Iniesta lookalike to the Samrat, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I can tell you this is a Samrat exclusive. The plan was to get your car, and then I was going to take it on a tour of dogging spots around the UK.
Is that genuinely your plan?
Genuinely. And
So
I had a
my
discussion
car
with
was-
one of the bosses at 5 Live.
Oh, what? Because 5 Live know about all that?
And yeah, we had serious discussions about it. I wanted to take it through drive-throughs. I wanted people having it off in the back, although you've had an experience of that. In the
That's
past.
happened already, isn't it?
I have.
Anyway, look, the result of it is, sadly, after 12 episodes, the best we could do is a lookalike. Welcome to the Samrat. And you do look like him.
Sí.
Buenas noches, Andrés.
Buenas noches.
Hablo inglés.
¿Cómo?
Hablo inglés.
Sí, poco. Hablo poquito. En español. Sí. Yo conozco poco English.
Started so well, didn't he?
Honestly, I was convinced.
I thought he was Andreas for a minute there, and he went
Hey,
bollocks, wasn't it?
Andres, where are you actually from?
London. South London. Well, I'm from Mitcham. I grew up in Mitcham, but I live in Kingswood, Surrey now.
Right.
Can I see you're in a lovely Barcelona top? You've got Barcelona shorts and then you've got some white trainers. Just give us a twirl so I can see your name on the back of your shirt.
Oh, no, I can't do that.
What would you mean? You're Andres in it. Come on, let's have a look. You're Andres in the
Come on, Iniesta, stand up.
There's a reason for
It
that.
says number 10 Messi.
Yeah, but my last game there, I swapped shirts with him. And
Oh my God, you're the
Yeah.
best. So everyone,
Yeah,
listening
so I've
right now,
kept
please imagine that we're talking to Iniesta.
Andres, could you come over and ask for a photo with Crouchy, please?
Sorry, Mr. Islam. Do you mind?
Sorry, can I just have a kingfisher as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a picture of Andreas Iniesta.
Mr. Islam.
But if you could get me a kingfisher on the way.
Large, please.
Yes, please.
And Iniesta, do you want?
Cerveza pequeña, gracias.
He wants a little one, Mr. Islam, I think. Pequeño small.
Tom, are you having another beer?
Yeah, I'll have a kingfisher, please, Mr. Islam.
Yeah, for him.
Okay, so now we're going to make podcast history by getting Iniesta to create the moment he went up to Peter Crouch and asked for a photo.
Is it you, Peter?
This is exactly how it went.
Peter.
Andreas, how are you?
How are you? Can I get a photograph of you? I can't believe you're here.
Been a huge fan for a number of years. I can't believe you're asking me for a photograph.
Yeah, please.
It's like the worst porno ever.
Chris, we're watching history. This is extraordinary. We doubted this moment ever took place, and now we're seeing it for a second time.
Weirdly, I prefer this moment to what I imagine the original is like.
Do you get a lot of work being an Iniesta lookalike?
Not yet.
No.
This is the first time. to be
What?
honest,
This is your
the first
debut?
time. Yeah.
How long have you been waiting?
Since before they won the World Cup.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Iniesta.
Iniesta.
Chris, I think you need a photo with Andres Iniesta as well, Chris.
Hey,
yeah?
listen, I think we need a little team photo with Iniesta. Quick piss break, and then we're going to be back in 10 minutes. Still to meet Mrs. Chang, everyone. Very excited about that.
That Peter Crouch podcast from BBC 5 Live.
Wish I could freeze this space and time, the way that I feel for you inside. This is my moment.
That's true.
Always works at a wedding. Who we got with us now?
Right, so this is Warren. Warren is a bit of a legend around these parts. He has owned a pub, the Haven Arms, just off Ealing Broadway. Great pub that we used to frequent.
Warren, what do you think of the curry so far? What would be your review if you were posting one on TripAdvisor?
What, under my real name?
Warren's not your real name.
No, I'm just saying I've got 2 TripAdvisor accounts.
Yeah, but Warren, is this like a Mr. Nice and
Well, you would
Mr.
do have
Nasty
it. Well, if you're a
situation?
publican, you have 2 TripAdvisor accounts.
Wait, that's-
one to review yourself.
5 stars for the Haven Arms, a charming
always.
place to enjoy a family meal.
So you've known Crouchy how many years?
20 years, got to be close to that, isn't
Long
it?
time.
What is your happiest night out?
There was a time where we had a little lock-in, which you're not supposed to do. So there was a few of us. We're having a little party, and the police knocked on the door.
Oops.
I've opened the door. He's gone, hello, Warren, what's going on here? I said, oh, it's a staff party. And he's like, really? Came in, he looked around. He's gone, all right, just keep it down. Anyway, shut the door, and then Peter's crept out from behind the bar. And I'm like, what are you doing down there? And he's like, well, I can hardly say I've got a part-time job here.
Crouchy giving it the big time.
Don't you know, I'm a Premier League footballer.
He'd never got one. They'd never believe I'm a waiter here.
Well, I was just thinking, I think I was at Tottenham at the time. And if I said to him, no, I just work Sundays, I don't think it would have gone down too well. Yeah.
Give it up for Warren tonight. Thank you very much.
I know we established earlier that we were in sexual Ealing. Do you think we should sing it later? Do you think we should try and get the whole Curry House singing Sexual Ealing by Marvin Gaye?
Yeah.
Do we know the words?
Baby, I'm hot like an oven.
No, sing it. Don't speak it.
Baby,
I'm hot just
like an oven. I need some loving.
Hang on,
What the hell is going on
Islam's
now?
come over with his phone. I think he wants you to take a takeaway order, Crouchy.
This is actually happening. He's giving a phone to take a order. Can I take a pen, please? Hello, Samrat. Hi. Yeah, we're open. Yeah, they're recording something stupid here, but we're still taking orders. He wants 2 madras. What's your name, please? Have you got an account? I'm new. Sorry. No, I do work at Samrat. Yeah, no, I work at Samrat. I'm so sorry. It's my first day. 1 curry, 2 madras with pilau.
Mr. Islam looks worried.
He wants a mushroom bhaji.
Yeah, Mr. Islam, can I have one as well, please? We need to regain some control and meet our next special guest.
Oh, yes, please.
The last time I saw this person, God, it must have been at least 25 years ago.
And you've not been to the dentist since?
No, well, I have. I've got a new dentist, but she's not changed a bit. And it's Miss Chang.
Welcome, Miss Chang.
Miss Chang, what are your memories of Peter's teeth?
Well, as far as I remember, he got very good teeth because he come every 6 months for checkup.
Every 6 months. I had a grey one for a while because I think my sister ran into me when I was about 9 and smashed the front one out. And the lads referred to me as the grey tooth for quite a long time.
The grey tooth?
I had an implant in that turned grey. You didn't do that one, Miss Chang, did you? No.
Why, just from a professional point of view, why would an implant turn grey, Miss Chang?
Oh, it shouldn't do. But sometimes it can because of the blood trickle down into the cavity. But it shouldn't do.
Into the cavity?
Yeah.
Miss Chang, is Peter your most famous client?
Not at the time because he was very young.
That's a valid point.
Miss Chang has just put Chris away there.
Well, yeah, I dare ask the second question then.
But I always remember him
Miss
because he
Chang's
was
got
so
you
tall.
on toast.
He was so tall.
Miss Chang has got you on.
Miss Chang, was Peter your favourite client?
Oh, well, yes, he was a very good boy.
Oh.
You know?
I was
Do
hoping
the
Miss Chang
checkout.
came with a few stickers tonight. Do you still have them, Miss Chang? Do you
Well, I still do that with young children, yes.
Do you still do?
Not a fully grown, not a 37-year-old man, Crouchy.
Crouchy, you've played in the Champions League and you're asking for a crocodile sticker.
You've played in World Cup finals.
Well, it's a fucking bizarre night, isn't it? Are you familiar with Paul Gascoigne's dentist chair?
No.
No. Okay, so how do you explain that?
Right, so before Euro 96, Miss Chang, England played some friendlies in the Far East, in Singapore and in Hong Kong, and they had a team bonding night out which featured Paul Gascoigne lying back in a reclining chair, similar to a dentist chair, having drinks poured into his mouth by Edward Teddy Sheringham. And then when he scored in the subsequent tournament against Scotland, one of the great England goals, the England players mocked up the dentist chair as a way of celebration. You look so baffled, Miss Chang.
Yes, I couldn't understand that.
Mrs. Chang, can we recreate the dentist chair with you and Crouchy? Come on, it's got to be done.
What, do a dentist chair?
So, Miss Chang, if you can vacate the chair you're in, Crouchy, you sit in the dentist chair.
While we're here, Miss Chang, could you just check my teeth?
They look lovely. Very nice. Really
What do you
lovely.
think of the front one there? You know, because I had a little bit of work.
Very good.
Not bad teeth. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mrs. Chang. Guys, if you thought that was weird, things are about to get weirder. One of the things we learned about this series was an amazing train journey where you and Dev from Coronation Street were on a train. You ended up having to play your cards, right, because of a load of drunk students or something like that?
Who were they? QPR?
Genuinely, yeah, QPR fans. And yeah, we were on the train, and I remember it clear as day, only because it was one of my first games. And they came down to get me, and I was sitting my own, trying to mind my own business. They grabbed me and he said, right, we've got Dev from Corrie up the back there, and we're playing a game of Play Your Cards Right. And I said, what? What on earth have you just said to me? You're Dev from Corrie and you want to Play Your Cards Right. I couldn't get my head around it. But you were game, and thankfully I was game, and we actually did have a go.
Okay, so this is what we're going to now attempt. There's been no rehearsal for this podcast. We're going to give it a go. Give a massive cheer, and we're going to start Play Your Cards Right. 1, 2, 3, go! Okay, I'm the Joker, full of jest. I play the cards close to my chest, but here's the pair that's worth revealing. Okay, mascots, do your dealing. Come to the front, please.
So we've got Chris. You're wearing an extraordinary jacket, can I say?
Thank you, mate.
It's bright red. It's full of sequins. Have you ever worn anything like that before?
Not in public, no. We've got two mascots here from QPR, and we've got Iniesta, of course, the real deal.
Iniesta from Mitcham.
What we're going to do tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to recreate that wonderful moment on the train. It tells me here to describe the scene, but if you're listening right now, it's exactly how you imagine. It's fucking mental.
It's a curry house. There are Dev and Crouchy are sitting at a table full of discarded sundries and lagers. And then we've got Andres Iniesta, the two QPR mascots, and Chris Stark in a remarkable red sequin jacket.
Thank you. We had a very brief meeting at Radio 1 earlier about this, about how this was going to work. I've completely forgotten it. We're going to go with it. In a moment, we'll ask a question to see who's got control of the game. But for those of you who've forgotten how to play, we'll turn over a series of cards, and Crouchy and Dev here have to guess whether the next card will be higher or lower. The first person to get 5 in a row wins. 5 in a row, okay. Wins a point. And I must remind all players that ace is high, Crouchy ace is high.
Okay.
And there's nothing for a pair in this game.
Not in this game.
We've taken all of the questions from 2002. They might be sexist, so blame it on the decade, which was when the show was last aired. Okay, we're going to start things off. Right, Crouchy v Dev.
Can I just say, this is the moment now where I wonder how the fuck I got here.
Once upon a time, Crouchy, you were playing in the Champions League.
I was, yeah.
But listen, we asked 100 lifeguards. Have you ever come across a man you suspected was wearing padded swimming trunks? How many? Let's start with Crouchy, as he's at home today.
I'm going to go 25.
Okay, 25. Okay, Dev, do you want to go higher or lower?
Lower.
Higher. Come on, audience.
Higher.
You're going to go higher than 25. The answer is 31. You're right to go with the audience. Dev, you've got control, okay? You need to get 5 in a row. I can give you your first card, Iniesta. It's a 7. Oh. Do you want to swap your first card, Dev?
Wait, so you can swap?
It's just the rules
Yeah,
of
you
the
can
game.
swap this first card.
Do you want to swap the 7? It's a 4.
Higher.
Do you want to go higher or lower, Dev?
Higher.
Higher than a 4? It's a 5. Yay! Audience, do we want to go higher or lower than a 5? Higher, Dev. Higher than a 5. Yeah. It's a 10. It's gone higher.
It's a 10. Lower.
Audience, what do you think? Lower than a 10? It's a 9. Who's got this one? Iniesta?
Pete, come on, man.
Got 4 cards so far.
One more.
This is for the point.
This is it.
Higher or lower than a 9?
Lower.
Lower than a 9.
Lower.
This for the game.
Lower than a 9. It's a 10. Oh, unlucky Dev.
Back in the game.
Crouchy, your card is 5.
Oh.
Higher or lower than a 5?
Go with your squad number higher.
I'm going to go higher.
Higher than a 5? It's a queen. Well done, Crouchy. It's a queen. Higher or lower than a queen? What do the audience think?
Lower. I'm going to go lower.
It's a queen.
What does that mean?
Nothing for a pair.
Not in this game.
I'm going to ask one more question. Winner takes all.
So Dev gets this first, yeah? Because Crouchy got first dibs on the first question.
We asked 100 male strippers, if a woman told you your best feature was your eyes, would you be pleased? How many said yes?
70%.
I'm gonna have to go lower.
The actual number of male strippers who'd be pleased if their best feature was their eyes was 68%. It was lower.
It's like you always knew. You knew.
Very close. First card, 8.
Higher or lower? I'm going to go higher.
It's a queen.
Lower.
I'm going to go lower.
6. Oh,
Higher.
can we go higher or lower? Dev, is this a career highlight for you?
Yeah. There's a weariness in Dev's voice, isn't there?
I don't think Dev's heart's in this.
No.
What does everyone think here? Yeah, I'm going to go higher. I'm going to go higher. I'm definitely going
King.
lower.
Do you want to go higher or lower?
King, I'm going lower.
No brainer.
Audience, what do you think?
Lower.
6.
Right, this is for
Higher
the
or
match.
lower?
This is for the match, Crouchy.
Do you want to go higher or lower than a 6?
Bizarrely, I'm going to go lower this time.
Really?
What would you do, audience?
Lower.
Yeah, we all want drinks.
It's a 5.
Crouchy, you win.
It's a 5.
Oh.
Boys, was it as you remembered it was in the standard class carriage of a Virgin Express train?
In some ways, it was better.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we give it up for Jimmy tonight, who's travelled all the way down here? Listen, this podcast is all about everyone who listens to it. Every week we get so many questions that come through on Twitter. I mean, Crouchy, would you say your social feeds are dominated by questions that come through from listeners of the podcast?
Well, yeah, what
now?
I'm finding now is that wherever I go, people ask me about the podcast. It's not about what goals you've scored or, who have you got next week. It's when's the next pod out? I was sitting on the bench the other day and someone made a beeline to try and get to the pitch, and I was thinking, he's going to abuse the manager. He burst through 2 stewards and told me the podcast was great.
All right, so we want to carry on with a load of your questions before we run out of time tonight to be able to do that. So this one's from Lewis. Does Crouchy still wear kit from former clubs? What a question. I can imagine that if there's a particularly comfy pair of trackies from, say, Spurs, why not wear them around the house? Be honest.
Yeah, that's a big shout, yeah. On a Sunday, when you just reach into the drawer, I have been known to swan around in a couple of Portsmouth shorts. There's a man over there that you need to ask about old kit.
So you give your dad your old kit?
So any old kit that I've had, or long sleeve, short sleeve, shorts, wet tops, cagoules, snoods.
What's a wet top?
Like a wet top would be like a top that repels wet.
Do you mean a raincoat?
Well, yeah, but in football, it's a wet top, isn't it?
Chris,
what the hell is a wet top?
A wet top's universally known.
It's not, though, is it, at all?
Yeah, but you see, you're not involved in the
I'm
game
not.
day to day.
That's true.
And what I will say is that it's called a wet top.
So I think we should finish with a sexual Ealing sing-along, since we're in
That's
Ealing.
a wonderful idea.
Dion, can we get you on the jube to play us in?
Thank you, Dion. Scott from 5, thank you for listening to the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It's great
Scott
to hear
from
you
5, thank you.
And a big
He
shout
listens.
out to Alistair Humphreys, who's a National Geographic Adventurer of the Year. And would you like to say a few words about Will Carling?
Well, I'd just like to say Will couldn't be here this evening. Obviously, well-known rugby player, has incredibly tight Armani jeans. We actually did get in touch with him, and he was actually very, very keen to come, which my mum was very excited about. And the reason he couldn't make it is because he looked at the date and his wife told him that it was his birthday.
I mean, that was classic, isn't
So
it?
he couldn't make it.
Do you know what? Before we go tonight, I just want to say, if this is the very last thing that we do with this podcast, I feel like I have got to know a footballer that I was just a huge fan of. And between us, I think we've actually made something quite special to be here in the Samrat, and that 5 Live are actually entertaining this ridiculous nonsense. I think if we come back and do this podcast again, we do it
back stronger.
Hey! Let's cue the music.
Come on, Bruce, this one's on you.
Sing loud, Dev.
Go on, Dion.
Hang on, well, it's still the intro.
I need some loving, baby.
Baby, I can't hold it much longer. It's getting stronger and stronger. When I get that feeling, I want sexual healing. Sexual healing. It's such a rush. Healing. Something that's good for me. Go on, Bruce. Hey. Hey.
That Peter Crouch podcast from BBC 5 Live.
What on earth?
And as Dion Dublin and Marvin Gaye play us out, that was the Samrat. Wow, one of the weirdest and most brilliant nights of my life. Thank you for listening. So there are loads of great videos and photos to check out on 5 Live Sport. Find their Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. We're going to post the best bits on there. Please don't forget to pass the pod. Keep it going. That was Series 1. From all of us to all of you, thank you.
BBC Radio 5 Live.